Muy bien, dialogamos con John Malkovich. ¿Qué tal? Buenos días. Ayer en la conferencia de prensa, en algún momento usted dijo, no veo mucho cine, ni siquiera mis propias películas. Eso suele generar cierto sentimiento de antipatía por parte de la gente, y es extraño porque personas que pertenecen a un determinado trabajo u oficio, en su tiempo libre no suelen justamente consumir o nutrirse de lo que hacen. La gente tiene una idea muy romántica tal vez del hacer cine, que es un hecho a veces más técnico y tedioso. Yo quisiera saber hoy, a más de 35 años de trabajar en cine, cuál es la motivación para seguir actuando en películas, y como espectador, cada vez que se sienta a ver una película, tal vez una de las pocas que ve, ¿qué es lo que le produce hoy el cine?
Well, it depends. If it's a very good film, I love it. But I don't think many films are very good. Mostly they're very forgettable, and very forgettable very quickly. So, first of all, I always preferred reading, and I'm not sure I agree that people consume their own products either. I think if you work at a bank, you don't sit and go, can I work at the bank tonight? You go, is it 5? I'm leaving. Mm-hmm. The work of movie making is quite medieval. It's very tedious. That's difficult to like. I'm sure there are some people who do like that. I'm not one of them. That's my work, and I like to do the work. I very much understand all the technical elements of movie making and why it takes so long, although often it takes too long even regarding that. But it was never my habit, really, to be a moviegoer. And now, when I watch something, it generally has a tendency, I do see some movies, but it generally has a tendency to be a long-running series, from Europe or America or wherever. Plus, I work a lot. So often I'm busy working. When my film is in a film festival in Rio, guess what? I'm working. Will it come out? Speaking now about a film I was in about the death of Dylan Thomas, the Welsh poet who died in New York in the 50s. Will I ever catch up with it? Will it ever be in a theater? Many films don't even go to a theater anymore. And, I always feel like I did my work and then somebody did their work with it. So I don't think it's that odd to not see them all.
¿Y alguna vez se pensó, con todo su trabajo actual en teatro, haciendo una pausa en el trabajo en cine con las películas? Por ejemplo, su compañera en El cielo protector, Debra Winger, en un momento ella decidió alejarse de la escena. ¿Usted en algún momento pensó en alejarse o hacer una pausa larga? ¿Ha pasado eso?
I mean, I have made pauses. It's just, I've done plays for a year or two at a time. I've done operas, and I traveled in operas for 5 years and did very little movie making. Mm-hmm. But, I'll rest when I'm dead. I'll have a nice long rest then. So if I ever really don't like it, I won't do it. But the work itself interests me as much as it did when I started. The work itself. But the process, no, I never loved it. And it is what it is, as the Americans say.
Hablemos un poco sobre 100 Years. Tiene muchos aspectos desafiantes la película que usted ha escrito. Por un lado, rompe con esta fascinación de la gente de querer conocerlo todo ahora. Es una película que de alguna manera también barre con esa idea o elimina esa idea de filtrar el contenido o de tratar de usurpar lo secreto. Por otro lado, los artistas no podrán conocer la repercusión de la obra. El reino de lo incierto, que es maravilloso. ¿Qué los llevó a tomar esta decisión de estrenar la película en noviembre de 2115? Y más allá de las incertidumbres, ¿qué piensa que puede llegar a suceder? Es extraño, ni siquiera sabemos en qué soporte técnico serán proyectadas las películas en 100 años.
What are you doing here?
Yeah, I don't even know if movies will exist. I don't know if we'll exist. I don't know if the Earth will be habitable. I have no idea. For that project, it was presented to me. It was something that Rémy Martin, the French company who makes cognac, wanted to do. It can't really be a commercial or an advertisement because nobody's going to see it. But on the other hand, Rémy Martin has been around a lot longer than 100 years, still owned by the same family. So who knows? But for me, I thought it was a very interesting idea. And what I thought about, and I think Robert Rodriguez, the director, thought about, well, what do we want to say this autumn from Austin, Texas, to people 100 years from now? Basically, I don't think we can imagine the world, because I really seriously doubt people from 100 years ago could possibly have imagined the world we live in now. I don't think we have any more information. So I read a great deal about what scientists and physicists and other people say, doctors, thinkers, what people say about the future, but I think there's very little we could know.
¿Es cierto que la película está viajando en una suerte de caja fuerte y en exposiciones? ¿O sí?
Yeah. I think they did that. I don't know if they're still doing it, but I would imagine maybe not, because they have a new project. So, which I think is very, very interesting. With an artist, I find very interesting. They have a new project they are putting together, as far as I know, because I just saw they sent a contract today. It was just a very interesting thing, and as far as I know, they did travel with it, but I think it may be already in a vault in Cognac, to not be opened and not be seen.
Okay. ¿Cómo se siente usted con su nombre como una suerte de marca? Ya hay dos, tenemos la película Ben John Malkovich, obviamente hay decenas de alusiones irónicas en toda la película, hay una ironía, una construcción de ironía, y este espectáculo, ¿no? Una noche con John Malkovich. de repente creo que hay gente que tiene un cierto imaginario de solemnidad sobre usted, que basta con, en realidad, observar todo su recorrido para ver que no es así. Pero ¿cómo se siente con espectáculos o películas en donde su nombre está allí incluido como título?
Well, that would not have been my preference, and I didn't know that. But
Okay.
you know, I didn't write Being John Malkovich. I wanted to direct it, but only if they made it about somebody else. Charlie Kaufman, who wrote it, didn't want to do that.
Malkovich. Malkovich, Malkovich. Malkovich, Malkovich. Malkovich, Malkovich, Malkovich. Malkovich, Malkovich. Malkovich. Malkovich! Malkovich. 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 Malkovich.
You know, I had two fashion lines, one called Uncle Kimono and one called Techno Bohemian. My new partners want it to be called John Malkovich. I never liked that idea. I think it's a bad idea, and I think it's bad marketing. But apparently I'm wrong. So
La marca funciona.
I don't know, but it's not something. See, when people say John Malkovich, to me that means nothing. John Malkovich is something else. I was speaking with our translator yesterday, and we were talking about fabric and designing fabric and all of that. And, you know, probably a lot of people think, she asked me, but who does the drawings? And I said, I do the drawings. Who chooses the Well, I do, because that's why I do it, not for my name or to be known or not known or so is that always uncomfortable with me? Yeah, but it's not like I'm obsessed by it or enraged by it, if you ask, but really I wish it weren't like that. But you know, I think probably when I eventually agreed to do Being John Malkovich, well, that was probably the start of it. And it isn't usually like that, meaning, you know, when I traveled with these operas for 5 years really around the world, yeah, I was kind of maybe a front man, but one of the operas was called The Infernal Comedy and one of the operas was called Giacomo Variations. They were called John Malkovich.
Ok, usted ha trabajado con maravillosos directores, algunos de ellos ya no están, como Michelangelo Antonioni o Raúl Ruiz, pero hay uno que yo tengo una particular devoción y es Stephen Frears, porque es el artesano perfecto, es alguien que nunca necesitó estar en un pedestal o ser considerado un grande, y lo es. Ha hecho películas de diferentes registros, películas pequeñas, películas grandes, y usted ha trabajado en al menos un par de veces con él. Hay una de las películas que obviamente es fundamental en su carrera, Relaciones Peligrosas, Dangerous Liaisons, ¿Qué puede decirnos sobre Stephen Frears, sobre su trabajo en especial con ese hombre tan noble?
Well, I love Stephen. I didn't get to see him this autumn because when I got there, then he was going away to shoot something. I love Stephen, and even though sometimes at work I think we drove each other nuts, I have great affection for him and great appreciation for his talent. I thought he did a spectacular job on Liaison, and I think he did a spectacular job on Mary Riley, actually.
I want to apologize for some of the things I said.
Why?
Because I was unnecessarily offensive. Now look what you've made me do. Don't you know who I am?
Mary Riley had problems, other problems, but they weren't Stevens. So for me, he was a big influence, a big influential experience in my work in movies, as was Raúl, as was Manuel.
You're only 5 minutes late, but I get so frightened. I become convinced I'm never going to see you
My
again.
angel.
Is it like that for you, too?
Yes. At this moment, for example, I'm quite convinced I'm never going to see you again.
What?
I'm so bored, you see. It's beyond my control.
What do you mean?
Well, after all, it's been 4 months. So what I said, it's beyond my control.
Do you mean you don't love me anymore?
My love had great difficulty outlasting your virtue. It's beyond my control.
It's that woman, isn't it?
You're quite right. I have been deceiving you with Emily, among others. It's beyond my control.
Why are you doing this?
There's a woman, not Emily, another woman. A woman I adore. And I'm afraid she's insisting that I give you up. It's beyond my control.
Y una última pregunta que tiene que ver con El cielo protector de Bernardo Bertolucci, ¿no? Ese fue tal vez el rodaje más complicado en el que usted estuvo involucrado, o al menos del que conocimos mayores complicaciones. En torno a, sobre todo al contexto, y justamente, bueno, hablábamos de Debra Winger, ella creo que atravesó una situación de, se enfermó, ¿no?
Mm-hmm.
¿Y usted también, o no?
I don't remember Deborah getting ill.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that she had kind of her best friend, or very much one of her best friends, dying during it. I don't remember her getting ill during it. I got quite sick. I got hepatitis in Morocco. Sheltering Sky, I think, was difficult because it's difficult material. I think Bernardo, I think the material made him suffer, let's say.
Poor balls.
Yeah. I think the material, on one level, he liked it very much. On another level, I think it depressed and frightened him. Because, of course, the thing about Bernardo Bertolucci is that, you know, he's so life-loving and he's so funny. So I think in a certain way, maybe that movie sort of made him look over into the abyss.
Cuando algo sale de su curso o cuando algo sale de lo previsto, ya sea en un set de rodaje o sobre un escenario, usted es en parte adorador de lo incierto y de lo que escapa de nuestras manos. Cuando algo sucede y algo se va muy fuera del camino, ¿cuál suele ser su dinámica? Un rodaje, por ejemplo, que está pautado de determinada manera y todo empieza a transformarse en una experiencia infernal, que sucede muchas veces. ¿Cuál ha sido habitualmente su dinámica frente a ese cambio de rumbo?
Well, I'm a very instinctive actor, and I'm a very reflective director. I think like all directors, I love happy accidents, meaning that are good, that are successful, and I dislike unhappy accidents, meaning that aren't very good. As an actor, in honesty, it's the same. See, I compare acting to, I compare it to surfing. Mm-hmm. Tonight at 9:30, we start the show. That's like you ride out on your surfboard, you turn your back to the sun, at least if you're on the Pacific Ocean, and you wait for a wave. And then you ride that wave. What is the wave? The wave is the collision between the material and the public. I'm not the wave. The orchestra is not the wave. The pianist is not the wave. The wave is that space between the audience and the material, and that collision is what causes the wave, and that's the wave you ride. I'm very happy to ride a wave. Sure, sometimes you fall off, sometimes the board hits you in the face, sometimes you get knocked out, sometimes you ride very badly, but theater is a living, organic matter. There's no point in going every night I go like this. I mean, go ahead, but who cares? You know, theater has to be living, not dead. Movies are different. Very different form with different rules. There is no wave in a movie. No. There's just little tiny bits of stuff cut together. There is no momentum in a movie. The concept doesn't exist. You don't have the story behind you in a movie. The story is to the side of you. So these are very different forms. I sound like I'm being critical of movies. No. This is the actual process of movies. And it has nothing to do with the process of theater. They're just two very different forms.
See this skater on that?
does that tell you? Oh, it's on the take. Times I've watched it go in and out of that apartment. Because I allowed you to. So you show me some goddamn respect!
Bicycle back there. Now, give me the fucking floppy or the CD or whatever the fuck it is, and I'll give you the money, dipwad.
Poland and the ditches of our cities, the work of police chief James Davis and every day, the needs of honest citizens are put second to greed and personal gain.
Our bargain. You agreed not to hurt my people. Listen to me. You understand? This requires that I go back to Berlin to find another photographer and then to fly him back here. And you control yourself while I am away. I don't think. Don't expect you to understand this, though. Admitted myself, but the writer is necessary. All my crew is necessary.
Muchísimas gracias por su generosidad y tiempo. Muchas
No.
gracias.